Jack's coming. He's got to turn on the. He's got to turn on the.
Horse is good. How you doing, Larry?
What are we doing first? Regular.
This is the assigned
This
competition.
is assigned subject, which is Call of the Wild.
Yes.
Montana missed. 21.
This is a beautiful subject at a beautiful time. The exposure of this is set so that it's this misty, probably maybe even a little bit snowy snow. The depth of field is excellent on your main subject. I think there are a couple of issues though. One is you have this very large buffalo over here, the bison over here, who's not quite in focus. He really detracts from this guy. And I know you're on the road for more of an artful impact. Having this more in a natural substrate would be cool, but nevertheless, it's a very strong subject, especially right here.
Okay, I'm ready. 19.
The only problem I have with this one is just a little bit overexposed. I would have liked to have seen it a vertical rather than a horizontal. I think if you went up there and just kind of squared it off a little bit, make it a vertical, lends itself to be a stronger image. I don't know.
Cunning.
I think so.
23.
The subject is very good, clarity is very good, and
Yeah, I guess you got a little closer. It's on.
But let me turn that up just a tad there. Now we'll try.
and I'm just drawing right into his eyes.
No, we heard you.
She said she was drawn into the eyes of the person.
The boss. $25.
The exposure on this is really right on. The light is being used to highlight the animal. You've got some of the light back here, but it's not real distracting. The vignetting along here draws us in. I would say that the artsy effect I like. It makes it very peaceful. If you want to get real nitty gritty, right up in here you've got this exposed kind of bald sky. It just pulls you a little bit. Maybe filling that in would then kind of bring you in more into the animal.
The exchange.
No, just look at them.
2.
You know who you didn't get?
Waiting on number 2.
I hit it.
Reset that, please. Wait a minute.
This is the thing. Oh, I thought you were sure.
No. All right.
All right.
Did you reset it?
No, let's reset it. Go ahead. I'll vote again.
Did you change it?
Okay. 29.
That's a great shot. Nice interaction between the young bird and the papa bluebird. Of course, I know this projector always projects a lot brighter than what it is. I imagine the thing on the screen of your computer is a lot nicer than what this shows. But it's good action and nice colors.
But Dad, it's my turn. Having trouble with number 2 again.
I ain't having trouble.
Oh, there, okay, I'm sorry. Excuse me,
Take
my
X,
bad.
X-lax.
Okay, 19, my bad.
I love the subject, but
I don't know why we can't hear you, darling, just for a minute. We can hear the other people.
Put a pinky in it.
I think we can hear them without.
Heard that.
Patty, don't hold it so near the speaker.
No, it's because I pulled out the mic and put it back in.
Should whisper to me and I could say, did you hear me?
We can hear you.
Sounds like it's
Stage
Now
trap.
that's better.
Yeah, that's, now try it, sweetie.
Okay,
Okay.
okay, that sounds better.
Good job, Patty.
Way to go.
Love the subject. The way it appears, it's, I don't know how it's, yeah, I don't know what kind of like effect it has on it, but it kind of makes it takes away from like detail and it kind of looks out of focus. And there's just a lot going on right here. So that's distracting.
Cut that whole left side on.
Wild and free. $21.
Technically, the exposure here is almost perfect, but as Grandpa Grubbs points out, the projector blows out white, so if that's darker on the screen, then we're not going to fault that. The depth of field is good, but the subject itself is out of focus. You really need to be absolutely dead sharp right here, and you're not. It's just the whole animal's soft. There's a lot of softness actually to the entire image. In terms of lighting, once again, while he's well lit or she, this detracts. You want to darken up all of this a bit so you're even more a little bit on the go.
Smoke on the water. $21.
Again, this is, I like the image. I like the smokiness and mist coming up off the river, colors of the woods. And again, I don't know why these projectors always kind of blow things out, but I'm sure if you looked at the screen behind me here, it would be a lot more color to it.
Spring peepers. $28.
They're so cute. It's great. I just keep looking at its eyes. It's a beautiful shot.
Yet another hummingbird photo. $17.
I'd be careful about naming these because when you say yet another one, you're trying to tell us it's a bit boring. But I love hummingbirds, so I don't accept that. Your exposure is outstanding. Everything is nice exposure. Your background is blurred beautifully. Brings your eye into the main subject area here. In the real world, if you could have his head turned a little bit more towards us, that'd be great, but I understand these fleeting moments. I'd like to see just a little bit sharper right here. That would have really nailed it even more. And darken this up again, because that's not a subject, and that is a bright thing that does pull your eye away.
Take time to smell the flowers. (16)
Again, this is one that suffers a little bit from the focusing mainly on the head. I think the exposure isn't too bad, and positioning of the bear is okay.
Midnight prowl. (27)
I absolutely love it. I like how the name of it fits it perfect, and I love how it has the outline, the way the light's hitting it.
Everglades prowler. (21)
The exposure on the here is pretty well tack on. Obviously there's light coming from above. The framing of the subject is done well, more of a pano, which works real well for the long snout. It's a bit over sharpened on him, I think, because I've shot the critters myself. I think it's just a little over processed here, and if we reduce that a little bit more, and I know the eye is dark, but just lead us right into the eye a little bit more would pump up the artistic value of this just a bit.
Calling all flies. (18)
This beetle is well exposed, and again, I would like to see this a vertical versus the get this little thing to work here.
That's always been your problem.
I have. Thank you. I'm getting through back, Jack. But at any rate, I would like to see this a vertical rather than a horizontal, because you got all this wasted space over here, and a little bit cut down through here and up this way. You could have maybe prompted this little guy to put his snout on the other side. Just touch him a little bit. They won't eat you.
Upward climb. (22)
It's a great subject. I like how he's climbing up the tree there. He appears to be in focus. I would have taken this off. I don't think you would need that on there.
Mother Nature's accumulative. (18)
The exposure on this is obviously, because this is underwater, I wonder if polarizing that a little bit would have just cut down the glare on the water, letting you see nature's accumulations here. I love the subject. I love how you did it. I love the angle. The diagonal here is really strong. And the only other comment would be is this actually detracts, because that's so in focus. I keep going here. And if you maybe want to take it right down there, that would make it less distracting. And if you try polarizing software on it, I would give it a try.
Feed me bread.
Too late.
Yeah.
(21)
Now this photograph sucks. But But you know, you look at these guys when you get down there, and you always wonder what would happen if you fell in there with all the carbon, you know? But it's a cool photo, especially the one that's kind of the mouthy one right here.
The challenge. $20.
Great subject. I love the exposure on it. I would just, and I love how they have their horns intertwined there. I just would like to see a little bit more of them, the elk themselves.
Wild enough for me. $17.
Exposure on this, a bit bright, but I think that's more projector. Your depth of field is appropriate for the rabbit, but the problem is you're not focused. You know, we've seen this now several times. That is not tack, and if you're going to be doing any wildlife shooting, you've got to have it tack sharp on the eyes because it just nails it. And the rest of his body is very soft. In terms of the framing, I think he's looking this way, so you need the extra stuff here, but I would maybe darken it up a little bit so that all of the greenery doesn't compete with the brightness on the hair.
Everglades. $17.
I like the lines in this image. You got these lines here, here. He kind of leads right in with that. The little bit overexposed on the gator. I would like to see it maybe darkened down a little bit.
Out of the wild and into a zoo.
It's one of your better days.
I'm not grumpy enough.
25.
I absolutely love this shot. He's got like that look in his eye. And I like the way he's turned. And the exposure seems to be very good.
I just wonder if it wouldn't have been a little bit stronger if you went right about here. Yeah, just a little bit off the bottom. Made him more in the upper right hand corner.
This right there that just
Yeah.
keep holding on. Yeah, but there's other things.
Mom?
Boom.
19.
Kind of similar to the rabbit shot we saw just a few minutes ago. He's not in focus. I mean, he's just, and back in the olden days, we'd have the slide projector, see if it popped, but he's just not in focus here. He's soft all throughout here. Actually, this is about the major, this is in focus, and we're in focus out front. When you have, the placement of the subject in the frame is very strong. It's a very good, strong area. Having a polarizer, though, would knock the glare that's here because of the time of the day. And again, when your subject's right here, you want to kind of draw your eye in and not have the equal intensity of light around here that matches the deer.
You called? 26.
This is a nice, strong image. I love the exposure on it, the intensity of the eyes, and of course, this big old lapdog tongue.
Call of the wild. Wild turkey, that is. $22.
I love the subject. I like how the turkey's on the bottle. And I love how this glass has the reflection of the leaves going through it and the texture of it. It's a really cool image.
Liger. $23.
The lighting and exposure on this, again, highlights the Liger very well. You know, you're really drawn into him, and the eyes should be the strong part. This, though, is a bit bright. You may want to darken this up to bring us right up in here because I keep looking there. The expression on the animal is outstanding. You really catch good action, and that draws you in and gives it a lot of emotional impact.
Cut salmon. $20.
This bear's got really good exposure. I like the texture on the fur of the animal and the intensity of the way he's looking at you like, yummy.
Lake Michigan sand dune. $17.
The texture of the water is really cool, and I like how the line goes down, and you have that subject in the back. You can really see the sand here in the front, the texture of that.
Yeah, the only problem I saw with that, there's more sand than there is. This is probably your subject here, but you got this vastness of sand, which really doesn't do a lot.
Subject's the sand dune.
I know, it's still, it's just lumps of sand.
What do you think a sand dune is? So go rake it.
I see you.
Together. At least not sitting next to each other.
Yeah, put Tracy between them. Yeah, we'll put Tracy between you two.
19.
The exposure on this is hot. Unfortunately, the head's hot, and you've got a lot of light down here, which again kind of draws you away. Your depth of field is very good because you're blurred all back through here where you want to be. The colors are a bit dulled on the grape blue. You want to see the kind of these colors pumped up a little bit. I think in bird photography, it's always hard because the lighting is always the key here. And I think there's just a lot of competing elements that make you just not want to go right in on the shorebird.
Feed me. Feed me. $19.
Trying to think of what to say about this. Yeah, birds.
The exposure is good.
Yeah, exposure's good on the birds, but it's just, I would like to have seen these guys with their heads down a little bit more, or maybe get on a ladder and get up and get more parallel to the birds, because they're not going anywhere. And of course, a lot of this weight kind of blows everything out.
My 38th Street Safari. 21.